In the quantum model of reality, our perception and understanding of problems are deeply intertwined with our consciousness level. Often, when we face challenges that seem insurmountable, it's not necessarily the problems themselves that are the issue, but rather our approach to them. We tend to address these challenges with a mindset that is deeply rooted in our past experiences. This habitual way of thinking, influenced by our previous encounters and reactions, creates and reinforces specific neurological patterns in our brains. These patterns become more ingrained over time, making it increasingly challenging to view our problems from a fresh perspective. As a result, we find ourselves caught in a loop of old thinking and emotional responses. Each time we react to a problem in the same way, we reinforce these neural pathways, solidifying our response patterns. This cycle effectively traps us in a state of consciousness that is bound by our past, limiting our ability to perceive new solutions or alternative approaches. Moreover, this cycle of repetitive thinking and emotional reaction does more than just trap us. It actively shapes our reality. According to the principles of quantum mechanics, our thoughts and feelings have a profound impact. Our thoughts and feelings have a profound impact on our personal reality. By continually approaching our problems with the same mindset and emotional responses, we are essentially creating a reality that perpetuates these problems. To break free from this cycle, we need to elevate our level of consciousness and approach our challenges with a new mindset, one that is not limited by our past experiences and reactions. This requires conscious effort to recognize and alter our habitual thought patterns, to step out of the familiar emotional responses, and to open ourselves to new possibilities. Only by changing our level of consciousness can we begin to see our problems in a new light and find innovative solutions that were previously obscured by our old patterns of thinking and feeling. The intricate relationship between our emotional reactions and the challenges we face plays a pivotal role in how we navigate our lives. When we encounter a problem, our emotional response to it is not just a fleeting feeling. It becomes a focal point where we direct a significant amount of our mental and emotional energy. This focused attention, often negative or stress laden, inadvertently ends up sustaining and magnifying the very issues we are trying to overcome. By investing our emotional energy in our problems, we are inadvertently nurturing and maintaining them. It's as if our problems are plants and our emotional reactions are the water and sunlight they need to grow. The more we dwell on these issues, the more energy we pour into them, allowing them to thrive and persist in our lives. This cycle of emotional investment in our problems is particularly detrimental because it diverts our energy away from constructive and healing activities. Our life force, which could be used to foster creativity, growth, and healing, is instead channeled towards maintaining the status quo of our difficulties. We become entangled in a self perpetuating loop where our focus on the problem reinforces its presence in our life. Furthermore, this cycle can lead to a sense of powerlessness or victimhood as we feel increasingly consumed by the challenges we face. Our emotional reactions can cloud our judgment, preventing us from seeing potential solutions or different perspectives. Instead of being agents of change in our own lives, we become reactors to the circumstances around us, caught in a whirlpool of our own making. Breaking free from this pattern requires a conscious shift in focus. Instead of pouring our energy into the problem, we can redirect it towards envisioning and creating a desired future or healing. This shift isn't just about ignoring our problems, but about changing the way we interact with them. By approaching our challenges with a mindset of growth, curiosity, and positivity, we can begin to dismantle the emotional hold they have on us and open up space for new possibilities. In doing so, we reclaim our life force, redirecting it from sustaining our problems to empowering our growth and transformation. Albert Einstein's profound observation emphasizes the necessity of transcending our current level of consciousness to effectively address and resolve our problems. This insight is particularly relevant in the realm of personal and psychological challenges. To break free from the constraints of our existing issues, it's imperative to elevate our awareness beyond the habitual thoughts and emotions that perpetually recreate our existing reality. The process of transcending our current consciousness involves a paradigm shift in our thinking and feeling. It requires us to step outside the familiar territory of our established mental patterns and emotional responses. These patterns and responses are often deeply ingrained, having been reinforced over time through repetition. They form a comfort zone of predictability, even in the face of discomfort or dissatisfaction. Achieving a higher level of consciousness means actively seeking new ways of thinking and perceiving. It involves challenging our long held beliefs and assumptions about ourselves, others, and the world around us. This shift can be facilitated by various means, including mindfulness practices, meditation, education, exposure to new ideas and experiences, and introspection. Moreover, this elevation in consciousness entails not only intellectual growth, but also emotional maturity. It involves cultivating emotional intelligence, empathy, and compassion. By understanding and managing our emotions more effectively, we can respond to challenges more constructively rather than reacting in ways that perpetuate the problem. In essence, to solve a problem effectively, we must grow beyond the person we were when we created or encountered the problem. This growth is not just a process of acquiring more information or knowledge. It's a transformation of our entire being, how we think, feel, and perceive. It's about developing a more expansive, inclusive, and enlightened perspective that allows us to see beyond the limitations of our current situation and envision new possibilities. The challenge of altering our life conditions is intricately tied to our own personal evolution. When we find ourselves unable to affect change, it is frequently because we are mired in repetitive emotional patterns. These patterns, often deeply ingrained and automatic, create a self perpetuating cycle that keeps us locked in the same life conditions. This cycle is driven by our habitual emotional responses to situations or triggers in our environment. Each time we react in the same emotional manner, be it with anger, frustration, fear, or any other emotion, we reinforce the existing neural pathways in our brain. This reinforcement strengthens our tendency to respond in the same way in the future, trapping us in a loop of predictable reactions and outcomes. Moreover, our emotions are not just internal experiences. They are energetic expressions that interact with the world around us. When we continually emit the same emotional energy in response to a problem, we inadvertently keep feeding into that problem. We essentially maintain the status quo because our emotional energy is invested in perpetuating the existing condition rather than creating something new. Breaking free from this cycle requires conscious effort and self awareness. It involves recognizing our automatic emotional responses and understanding their origins. This understanding can empower us to begin choosing different responses that are more aligned with the changes we wish to see in our lives. The process of changing our emotional responses is not just about suppressing or ignoring our feelings. Instead, it's about developing a deeper understanding of our emotions, learning how to manage them effectively, and using them in ways that serve our growth and well being. This might involve practices like mindfulness, meditation, therapy, or other forms of emotional work. Gaining awareness of the unconscious thoughts linked to our problems is a vital part of personal growth and transformation. These unconscious thoughts, often deeply embedded through past experiences, shape our emotions and reactions, influencing our reality. By identifying these thoughts and understanding the emotions they evoke, we begin the process of detaching from their influence. This detachment is not a passive act, but a proactive step towards self awareness and self regulation. The journey towards a higher level of consciousness starts with this introspection. When we become aware of these automatic thoughts, We can observe how they trigger certain emotional responses in us. For instance, thoughts of inadequacy might trigger feelings of insecurity, or thoughts of past failures might evoke fear of attempting new challenges. Recognizing this link between thought and emotion is critical because it empowers us to interrupt the cycle. The act of becoming conscious of these thoughts involves a shift from being a passive recipient of our mental processes to an active observer. This shift allows us to question the validity of these thoughts and challenge their hold over us. We begin to realize that many of our automatic thoughts are not facts but interpretations based on past experiences. With this realization comes the power to reframe these thoughts, to see them in a new light. This process also involves recognizing the role of emotions as signals rather than directives. Emotions can inform us about our internal state, but they don't have to dictate our actions. By understanding this, we can start to respond to situations based on our current values and goals, rather than reacting based on old patterns. The practice of mindfulness can be particularly helpful in this process. It teaches us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing us to see them as transient states that we don't need to attach to or identify with. As we cultivate mindfulness, we enhance our ability to stay present and responsive rather than being swept away by automatic reactions. The practice of meditation, particularly in the context of quantum understanding, is centered around transcending the physical and temporal boundaries that define our usual state of being. The ultimate aim is to reach a state of pure consciousness, unbounded by the limitations of the material world. This transcendent state is described as becoming no body, no one, no thing, nowhere, no time. It's a profound disassociation from the physical self and the sensory experiences that anchor us to the material realm. In this state of pure consciousness, we are not defined by our physical bodies, our identities, our possessions, our locations, or the chronological passage of time. Instead, we exist in what can be termed the eternal now, a state of timeless awareness. This is not a void or a state of nothingness, but rather a rich field of potential, unshaped by the past or the future. It's a realm where the conventional laws of physics and time do not apply, allowing for a deeper connection with the quantum field. In this state of disassociation, we free ourselves from the limitations of our conditioned responses and ingrained patterns of thought. We step beyond the ego, which is often bound by fears, desires, and social constructs. This freedom from ego allows us to experience a sense of oneness with all that is, tapping into the interconnectedness of the universe. In the quantum field, everything is interconnected. There are no distinct separations between us and the rest of the universe. This connection to the quantum field in meditation is more than a spiritual or metaphysical concept. It has practical implications for personal transformation and healing. When we merge with the quantum field, we open ourselves to infinite possibilities. We are no longer confined by our past experiences or future anxieties. In this state, we can envision new realities, create new possibilities for our lives, and even influence our physical health and well-being. Furthermore, this state of disassociation and merging with the quantum field is not a passive experience. It involves an active engagement of the mind and heart. It requires the practice of deep focus, intention, and emotional openness. Through consistent meditation practice, we learn to quiet the chatter of the mind, transcend the pull of the physical world, and enter into this state more readily. By achieving this state regularly through meditation, we can start to integrate these expansive experiences into our daily lives. This integration can lead to profound changes in how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. We become more attuned to the subtle energies around us, more compassionate towards others, and more aligned with our true purpose.